Hi everyone, welcome back to the Autism Little Learners podcast. I'm your host, Tara Phillips, and today we're talking about something so many of you are either in the middle of right now or will be very soon, helping autistic kids prepare for the big transition of going back to school. And that's what we're talking about in today's episode. Hi, I'm Tara, and this is the Autism Little Learners podcast. I am a speech-language pathologist with a twist. I've run my own communication-based classroom for over 2 decades, and I'm so excited to share actionable tips and strategies for supporting young autistic children. My goal is to help you feel more confident and successful when teaching your autistic child or students at the early childhood level. If you are ready to learn some tried and true strategies that really work, this is the podcast for you. Let's get started. Let's be honest, back to school can feel overwhelming. There's excitement, sure, but there's also anxiety, both for kids and for parents and caregivers. For autistic kids who often thrive on predictability and routine, this transition can feel extra big. The good news? We can make it easier. There are small proactive things that we can do to help autistic children feel safe, supported, and ready to learn. Today, I'm going to share 4 strategies that I've seen work time and time again. The first one is creating a countdown calendar and practicing routines. The second one, reading a social story about going to school. The third, sending an all about me sheet to your child's teacher. And the fourth, allowing your child to pack a comfort item for school. If you're an educator, share these tips and resources in your welcome back letter. If you're a parent, try one or all of these tips to create a smoother transition back to school for your child. In this episode, I also have 2 free resources to help you put this into action. The first is my Going Back to School story from my free story library. And the second thing is the Child Interest Survey. It's free and it will help teachers connect quickly and meaningfully with your child. Both links are in the show notes. Okay, so now think for a second. What feelings come up for you when you think about back to school? Is it excitement, anxiety, or maybe a mix of both? And how does your child or student usually handle big transitions? Hold on to that thought as we dive into these strategies. Okay, strategy number 1, countdown calendar and practicing routines. For many families, summer routines look different from school routines. Bedtimes shift later, mornings are more relaxed, meals might happen whenever. Suddenly shifting to a more rigid school routine can be stressful. So one way to make this easier is to practice the new routine ahead of time. A few weeks before school begins, start waking your child up at the school wake-up time. Practice getting dressed, brushing teeth, eating breakfast, and heading out the door. And do a practice run. Drive or walk past the school to help it feel familiar, and even better, go play on the playground and have some fun. And then you're going to want to pair this with a countdown calendar. So make it visual and fun, draw pictures or use real pictures like a picture of your house and a picture of the school, even a picture on the playground on the days that you're going there to visit before school starts. Cross off each day and talk about how many days are left until school starts. This gives kids a concrete way to understand when school will start, which helps reduce anxiety about the unknown. Remember to presume competence. Even if the child isn't showing signs that would lead you to believe they're understanding the visual calendar, keep going. Show it every day and keep it simple. Here's a quick example. I worked with a family who had a 3-year-old little boy who really struggled with transitions. Even small changes like leaving the house for errands often led to a big stress response. Crying, refusing to get into the car, or melting down when routines shifted. As the first day of school approached, his mom was understandably really nervous. She decided to try 2 simple tools: reading the Going Back to School story every night and using the visual countdown calendar to mark off days until school started. Each evening, they crossed off a day, and each morning, they read the story together. It gave him a way to see what was coming and feel more in control. When the big day finally arrived, something amazing happened. He got into the car calmly and rode all the way to school without a stress response. When they entered the building, we met him with one of his favorite toys, a toy we knew about because his mom had filled out the child interest survey. That one small gesture immediately made him feel comfortable and engaged. He transitioned all the way to the classroom without tears or hesitation. Mom waited in the hallway for about 15 minutes just in case, but everything went beautifully after that. She even left and had a couple hours to herself, a rare and well-deserved break. Here are a couple things to think about. What's one small change you could start practicing this week? Could you make mornings a little more predictable now, even before school starts? If you're an educator, how could you support your students' parents in preparing their child for the upcoming school year? And that brings me to strategy 2, read a social story. Social stories are powerful because they take something abstract like the first day of school and make it concrete, predictable, safe. The Going Back to School story in my library is free and easy to use. It walks through what will happen step by step, and you can personalize it by adding a picture of your child's actual school, a photo of their teacher or teachers, or notes about their bus or classroom. And here's a tip. Social stories work best when repeated, not just read one time. Try reading it every day in the weeks leading up to school, and even keep it handy for the first few days after school starts. A parent once told me, reading your back to school story every night was like giving my child a roadmap. They knew where they were going, and I could tell that he felt calmer. All right, so have you ever tried a social story with your child or student before? If yes, what worked well? Try to repeat that. If you haven't, how could you start? Maybe by printing the free story that I have for you, and then you can personalize it as you're ready. And when during the day could you read it? Are you going to read it in the morning, bedtime, or both? And if you're a teacher, could you print off this story and send it to your students' families before school starts? On to strategy 3, send an All About Me sheet home to parents. This one is a quick but powerful strategy. Teachers love getting information about their students before school starts. It helps them connect faster and meet kids' needs from day one. That's where the child interest survey comes in. This little form allows parents to share their child's favorite toys, songs, activities, things that help them feel calm, sensory and communication preferences. When teachers know what your child loves, whether it's bubbles, music, or a favorite character, they can include those passions to connect and motivate your child. Teachers have told me things like, the child interest survey saved me weeks of trial and error. And this survey is not just for teachers. You can share it with speech therapists, paraprofessionals, and even bus drivers if appropriate. When you use the All About Me sheet and the child interest survey together, it not only better prepares the adults working with your child, it also assists them in adapting curriculum as well as choosing toys and activities that your child will love. And these things all lead to positive relationships and increased engagement. And who doesn't want that? So, what's one thing about your child that you wish every teacher knew from day one? Write it down. Could you take 5 minutes today to fill out the child interest survey and send it to school if you're a parent? And if you're a teacher, could you print a copy off for each of your incoming students and send it home? And how might this change your child's or your student's first day experience? Okay, on to the 4th strategy, packing a comfort item. This last strategy is simple, but it means so much. Packing a comfort item. It could be a small fidget toy, a family photo, a tiny stuffed animal, or a figurine. I had one student once that loved to bring action figures like Superman and Batman. Sometimes schools have guidelines, but most allow something small that helps with emotional regulation, especially if you talk to the teacher ahead of time. So here's an example. I had one student who carried a soft scarf that smelled like her mom's perfume. And anytime she felt nervous, she would hold it and take a deep breath. And that small item gave her comfort and stability all day long. She actually carried it around with her all day, which was totally fine with us. So what's one item your child could carry that would bring them comfort and a sense of connection? And does your child already have something they turn to when they're feeling overwhelmed? That might be something to consider. If you're an educator, okay, a lot of times we think, oh, we need to leave personal things in the backpack. But what if you considered a safety or comfort item that helped children feel secure and allowed them to engage more and build connections with you and the support staff that they're with every day? Let's review the 4 tips that we talked about today. Number 1, we're countdown calendars and practicing routines. Number 2, reading a social or informational story about going back to school. Number 3, sending an all about me sheet or the child interest survey. And number 4, packing a comfort item. These steps won't make back to school perfect, but they can make it a heck of a lot smoother and help your child or your student feel safer and more confident. And remember, it's okay if there are tears or bumps in the first week or two. That's normal. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress and support. Here are a couple more things to reflect on as we wrap up. Which of these 4 strategies feels easiest for you to try first? And what's one thing you can do today to help your child or student feel ready? Do not forget to grab these free resources that are in the show notes. The Going Back to School story and the Child Interest Survey that can be given to each child's teacher with all of their favorites on it. You guys, I would love to hear what's working for you. Share your experiences with me on Instagram at Autism Little Learners or send me an email or a DM. I absolutely love hearing from you. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. And if you found this helpful, share it with a friend or leave a quick review. It helps more parents and educators find these resources. Until next time, remember, small, consistent steps can make big transitions so much easier. You've got this, and I wish you the best school year ever. I'm sending a big virtual hug your way because you just finished another episode of the Autism Little Learners podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. If you have had success with any of the strategies that you learned about in this podcast, I would love to hear from you. Send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook at Autism Little Learners. Don't forget to grab your free visual support starter set by going to autismlittlelearners.com/visuals. And always remember to find the good in every day.